gentlemen, welcome to the beautiful Blue House on a beautiful day in Carlsbad, New Mexico. This is Channel 23's The Faces of Carlsbad, and we're sponsored by Intrepid Potash, and it always makes us feel good. But I've told you in the past that you're going to meet people that you know, people you don't know, people you'd like to get to know. But you probably think, oh, he's just talking because he knows all these people. Well, I don't know all these people. In fact, our guest today is somebody I don't know at all, and I'm going to get introduced to him right now. So this is a beautiful day to ask this question. Excuse me, sir, but what's your name?
My name is Ron Mayberry.
Ron Mayberry. I'm Bob Scholl, Ron.
Bob, nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Very nice to
gosh
meet you.
Sakes.
I feel like I already know you.
Well, on Channel 23, you never know what you're going to run into, Ron. Now, we're going to go and start in the early days, not the old days, but the early days, because you're a young whippersnapper. But we're going to start out with where you were born, where you grew up. Tell us a little bit about your mother and father.
Oh, great. I always love to talk about them.
Okay.
Actually, I was born in Los Angeles, California. My dad was played for the Brooklyn Dodgers, and he was in the AAA league.
Oh, my.
And that was then, in those days, of course, the Dodgers were in Brooklyn. And that AAA league was Los Angeles, and that's where I was born. My mother was from Kent, Texas. Well, Kent, Texas is right about 50 miles west of Pecos. And if you blink, you'll miss it because there's not even a light. There used to be a service station and a grocery store. Now there's nothing.
Yeah.
But that's about 40 miles from Fort Davis,
yes,
south of Fort Davis. And that's where I was raised mostly because my dad was chasing baseballs, and so I had to live with my grandmother a great deal. I even went to the second grade in Kent, Texas, where we had a schoolhouse where the second row was the second grade. It was one of those old-time schoolhouses.
Oh, everything was, the whole school was in one room, basically.
The whole school was in one room. It was quite, you know, I wrote a book, and in one of my book I say that I was the most loved child in the world, and if there's anything, I got nourishment from love, but I didn't get quite the education I needed.
So your dad, how successful through the years was he as a baseball player?
He was very successful, very, very successful. He won the Los Angeles City Championship in tennis. He was a very good athlete. Mm-hmm. And but he was a baseball nut, and he traveled baseball, and of course then he went to Odessa, Texas, and that's where he was in the AA, and then from there he finally got a real job. And we moved to Amarillo, Texas, and that's where I finished high school and played my athletic sports there, and that's where we wind up living there the rest of our life.
Now, did Dad ever make it to the majors, or
no,
was
he didn't. AAA he started AAA, and that's as far as he went. Mm-hmm. And of course, I thought he should be there, but he was more of a catcher and a pitcher, and he wasn't really built like a catcher and a pitcher. And his arm gave out on him, and he started having elbow problems, and because whenever I played baseball, he wouldn't let me throw a curveball till I was 14 years old because he said that's how he ruined his arm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He wanted that arm to be a little more developed to throw that curveball.
Right. And then, unfortunately, bless his heart, I quit playing baseball when I was about 15 years old. I turned to something else.
Now, see, I got started on the violin, and I quit the violin when I was 12 because I wanted to play football.
I understand.
Yeah, my gosh. So, you grew up basically and were raised in Texas?
Yes, nearly my whole life has been spent in Texas. Mm-hmm. Actually, this is the first time that it's not the first time I've lived in New Mexico. Mm-hmm. I've been a kind of a vagabond type. I've coached I coached at St. Mike's in Santa Fe, and I loved it there. And I was the head basketball coach there and a physical education instructor. And then I was also at Kirkland Central, and I was the head girls coach at Kirkland Central, and we went to the state finals, and I really enjoyed that. But that was my 2 trips in New Mexico, and this is my 3rd trip in New Mexico, and my wife and I decided about 6 months ago that we wanted to get closer to family because we have family here.
Well, my gosh, Ron, it's nice to know that you're here in this beautiful state.
Well, we love it. I love it. I'm a big fisherman. You know, we were talking earlier. If there's anyone I'd like to know, I'd like to know that person knows where the underground stream is out there in that lake.
So your wife was also born in Texas?
Yes, she was. She was born in San Angelo, Texas.
San Angelo.
And then she was she went to school in Amarillo also, and that's how we met. She went to Amarillo High School, the same school I did.
Which Amarillo? Which one in Amarillo?
Well, we both went to Amarillo High, the
Amarillo
Sandys.
High.
And matter of fact, I hate to tell you this, but when I went to school there, that was the only school in Amarillo.
Oh,
and it was the 5th largest school in the state of Texas at that time. And then it broke and went to there's a Paladura that started, then a Tascosa,
right,
and then a Caprock, and so now I think they've got 5 high schools there now. And but when I went to school there, it was one high school.
How did you like the winters there?
Oh, hated it. You know, there's nothing. You know, the only difference between the North Pole and Amarillo is a barbed wire fence.
Oh, I love it. A barbed wire.
I'm sorry,
fence.
but I hated the winters.
Yeah.
And but you get used to it. And
well, Amarillo's a nice city, though, isn't it?
I
like
the city.
Yeah.
You know, just the weather was. Then we wound up. We lived in Lubbock the last 7 years, and there's not a whole lot of difference in Lubbock and Amarillo, but it is just a little bit further south and a little bit not quite as frigid as the other one.
Well, I've always had trouble with the traffic in Lubbock.
Everybody does.
I'm heading east, and I'm suddenly driving, and all of a sudden it says, "Welcome to Amarillo," which is north. And I told my wife a long time ago, I either have to give up driving or stay out of Lubbock. I don't have that trouble in Odessa or Midland.
Oh, you just don't know the difference that I love being in Carlsbad. I can get nearly anywhere in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's really nice. I love getting to some place without having to worry about your life. And in Lubbock, you have to worry about it.
Now, Ron, you said, and you didn't want to bring this up, but I'm going to bring it up because I think it's fascinating. You've just recently written a book.
Well, actually, Bob, I wrote it 3 years ago, but it was recently published in August of 2011. But I started writing it actually about 2009. That's when I started writing
2009. Yeah. What's it cover,
well,
basically?
it's called The Education 101, One Man's Journey to the Final Four. And it's about the Final Four. It's about how teams get to the Final Four. It's about the big dance and all the pressures that are involved. It's about getting players that you can win with. It's about learning how to do a lot of different things. It's had really good reviews, and I've had a lot of success with it for this year. I've had 2 coaching organizations endorse it, and it's been very good.
Which coaches organizations?
Well, they're all in Texas, unfortunately.
Well, no, that's fine because Texas is well known for its
sport. The Texas
sport.
Association of Basketball Coaches, which is about 6,000 strong, has endorsed it, and the Texas High School Coaches Association has endorsed it, which is about 12,000 strong.
Boy, you've hit the jackpot there.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's been nice, and I've enjoyed it. I didn't write it I hadn't made a whole lot of money, but I didn't write it to make money. I write it because I had a story to tell, and I think it's a good story. And everyone that's told me that it's a fiction book, but you know all fiction is half truth. So
absolutely. Oh yeah, that's true. So the book is doing quite well.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, yes.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of money, no, but in terms of just getting support and just terms of people enjoying it, yes.
It makes you feel good.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
That's wonderful.
Like I said, I was 50 years I put in the coaching business, and
that's amazing.
You know that means I had a passion for it. And I had a passion for the book, and I wrote the book with the passion basically that I wanted young people to read it, because basically what it's about is trying to win at all cost.
Talking about 50 years of doing something that was wonderful. And here I am, 50 years of wasting time. That's disgusting.
Well, hey, we're interviewing, we're talking. That's not wasting time.
No, I'm not wasting time with you. Tell me a little bit about your family now.
Well, we've got a wonderful family. That's one of the reasons why I'm here, and why my wife and I are here. Is we came here. My son-in-law is the head football coach, and my daughter is the principal over at Joe Stanley Smith. And then I got 3 grandsons,
Yeah.
Robbie Arrington, Marcus Arrington, and Nate Arrington, and that's one of the main reasons we moved here, so we could be closer to them.
Coach Arrington, what's his first name?
His name is Ron.
Ron Arrington.
Yeah.
And your daughter, I know?
Kim
Arrington, yes.
And she's, you know, they have been here now 16 years. And for 16 years I've been coming here a lot. So Carlsbad's not new to me, okay?
Yeah.
And so I've always loved Carlsbad. 1975, we came to Carlsbad for vacations. And I was coaching the Odessa Permian then,
Oh,
the Mojos.
you're kidding.
Oh yeah, I've had quite a history of coaching. I've been at 24 different schools.
Yeah,
I'm not proud of that, but that's one of the things in my book that I talk about. But we used to come here because we loved Carlsbad. We would stay at the Stagecoach Inn. Or I think it's the Stagecoach Inn, over where the Weiner Diner is.
Yeah.
I don't think it was called the Weiner Diner then.
No.
We even ate there then. But that's where we just loved coming here.
You mentioned Odessa Permian. My son-in-law and daughter live in Odessa, and you know the football stadium there.
Oh, yes, I think I do. I was a basketball football coach at Odessa Permian.
You could throw a rock from their house and hit the stadium.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Well, there's a nice golf course out there, too.
That's right. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Odessa. It's a very nice city.
We lived in Odessa for about 6 years.
6 years.
And we lived in Midland also. So I was coaching at Midland High, Odessa College, Permian.
Mostly what? Football, baseball,
Football and basketball.
football and basketball.
Yeah. Football and basketball. That's what you have at Odessa. You have to be a football coach and basketball coach. If you're if you're a basketball coach, you want to coach, you better be able to coach football too.
They take it very seriously. Absolutely. Very seriously.
That show, Friday Night Lights. It doesn't even give it the way it really is.
Oh no.
I can tell you a story if we have time. When my first year at Odessa Permian, we were 9-1 in football, and 9-1 in the last game we got beat by Midland Lee to lose out on the playoffs. Mm-hmm. The next morning there was 24 for sale signs in the head football coach's yard.
Oh no.
24 for sale signs. Now, that was a long time. That was when the Mojo was really the Mojo.
Yeah.
And that's when the year before they'd won the state championship. So that's a little bit different breed.
I wanted to ask you a question about that. I've always wondered, what does Mojo stand for? Because nobody would tell me.
Nobody really tell you. It's a mystique, and it's good luck.
Oh, that's it.
It's good luck. It's for them. That's
all these years I've asked myself, what does that mean? And
they really believe in it.
Yes,
okay?
but you're the first one to tell me.
Well, it's just good luck.
Oh,
it's good luck, and it's definitely that. There's another word for it, a scientific word for it, but I don't know what that is. But it's in Odessa, it's about good luck.
Oh, finally, after all these years. Now, you see, it's a good thing I met you today. Walking down the street, and I said, hey, come here, sir. And you came right in. I couldn't have hit a nicer situation in my life.
Well, I'm not sure I'm accurate. I just know how we all felt about it.
Well, you mentioned your daughter, Kim
Yes.
Arrington. I know Kim, and I met Kim, and I think we've introduced her, we've talked to her on radio a while back, but she's a very nice young lady.
Yes, she is. She loves, up to this point, up to this year, she's always been teaching. Mm-hmm. And so she took on a principal's job at Joe Stanley Smith, and she absolutely loves it.
Yeah.
She loves it, and I'm so thrilled for her. Because, if you love something, you're really going to be good at it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And it's a time in life where you'll never forget it.
Right.
No matter how many years you live.
Matter of fact, excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You'll just continue thinking about it.
Matter of fact, she is the reason that I wound up being the coordinator for the Safe Routes to School, which is what my job is in Carlsbad.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, a year ago from now, I knew nothing about it. Mm-hmm. And she sent me an email, and she said, and the email said, Dad, there's a part-time job opening. It's called Safe Routes to School. And she says, I've read about it. She says, it sounds just like you. So you know how your daughter is, you know. And so I looked it up, and I've never heard of it, but it really intrigued me. And so I called them and asked them what to do. They sent sent a resume, then I interviewed. Lo and behold, I got the job. And we were already planning on moving before I ever got the job.
Yeah.
So it just made it better. And so I went to work on November the 7th. Absolutely really knew very little about it other than what I read. And the more I got into it, Bob, the more I liked it. The more I started feeling good about it. And it's what it is. It's a grant that we get for me to be the coordinator from the state of New Mexico. But we're not the only one. There's 35 schools in New Mexico that has the same program.
Oh.
There's many across the United States that do the same thing. And internationally, it's big internationally. But it's basically developing safe routes for schools for students to walk or to ride their bike to school. You know, we and I didn't know this. I didn't realize how children have gotten away from walking to school. They've gotten away from riding their bike to school, and there's many reasons. And some of them are legit. They really are legit. You know, and we don't need to get in all the reasons, but there's lots of reasons why parents don't feel secure letting their children walk to school. But in that process, obesity has become a problem with our youth. Not only has obesity become a problem, physical exercise, and to make things worse, we have more cars at schools, parents dropping kids off with school, which create a worse atmosphere and create a huge danger, an element for danger for kids getting hurt or run over, or just a huge danger, and then it creates a problem for the principals, for the safety people. It creates a problem for the police, and it's just been a huge problem. And so this is what this is tackling. It's tackling that issue that let children walk to school like we did, or like ride the bus. I bet there's very few of us, I know you, myself, that it's just unheard of.
No.
We walk to school.
We
rode
everywhere.
a bike to school.
Absolutely.
And it's been, when doing that, we developed some self-discipline, because you have to have some self-discipline to do those type of things.
Absolutely.
And not only that, we also when we came to school, we were energized. And it's been proven that the students that walk to school, to ride to school, are more energetic when they get to school, and they do better. That's been a proven fact, and their academics.
Yeah, I walked basically from grades 1 through, I guess I have to walk a half a mile when I was a young kid to the school, which was very safe. And when I got older, I was walking a mile and a half just to get from the noon hour to my house to eat, and then walk back.
Right.
And I never got any rides anywhere.
No, it's just none of us did. Nearly all of us are that way. And I talk to executives. I talk to really successful executives. And there's not a one of them that won't say, gosh, we rode bikes. We did it every morning. We never thought anything about it.
Absolutely.
We walked to school.
Absolutely.
You won't find hardly any of them that say, my dad and my mom dropped me off. It just was unheard of hardly. Unless, of course, they live 5 or 10 miles out in the country.
Well, that's different. That's
a totally different thing. But I mean, people that were within a mile or mile and a half of the school, they walked. And it's been proven that is basically really been a healthy issue.
Yeah.
It developed a healthy lifestyle. And that's what we're trying to do, Bob. We're trying to create a more awareness for that, for parents and for students. And that's one of the things whenever I first met your channel, was on Walking School Bus. Mm-hmm. And we've started a Walking School Bus. And all it is just trying to get kids out to walk again, to maybe, hopefully, some way affect their lifestyle later on.
The one worry I always have when I see these young kids walking is the fact there's always a weirdo someplace that's going to, I just don't trust that area.
No, that's very true, and that's a legit problem.
Yeah.
And that's why we started the Walking School Bus, because what we have with the Walking School Bus is we have adult volunteers that go through its training program, and they go through a background check. And they have to pass both of those before they can they can then be involved in that. So when we wind up having volunteers, we have enthusiastic volunteers that have a passion for children and a passion for that. And that's been a wonderful thing too, just that part of it. So it's been a plus. And I'll be honest with you, I never dreamed it would be as good as this. It's every morning when I walk with those students, I get a really good warm feeling, and I come away enthused myself every morning that it happens. I would encourage anyone to get involved with it.
Well, your enthusiasm about this is really wonderful.
Well, I love it. I really do. I never dreamed I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a coach in the education business all my life.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it. And the main reason is because the kids do something to energize you. You know, children are the greatest thing in the world. They're true, they're pure, and they give you something to go away like, hey, my problems don't mean anything. You know,
absolutely.
And it gives you a great feeling.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, Ron, for being our guest today.
Thank you.
And if I hadn't seen you walking down the street, we would have never met, would we?
No, we wouldn't have.
It's a good thing, and you know, sometimes you have to get a rope out there and lasso these people, but you came in on your own, and you were so enthusiastic, and I'm so impressed. And then I find out that I know your daughter. I've met your daughter, a lovely lady. Now, I don't think I've met her husband yet, but I'll have to meet him someday.
You'll meet him sooner or later. He's done a super job with the football program.
Well, and you've got a wonderful son-in-law, and I've got 2 wonderful sons-in-law. It makes you feel good when your daughters are very precious, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
And when they're married to 2 nice men or 3 nice men,
you better
it makes you feel good.
There's no better security.
That's right. Ron, thanks a million for being here today. It's
Bob.
been a great time.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of Channel 23, Intrepid Potash, Guy Lutman, myself, and our guest, goodbye and good luck. Anyway.